fighting there for the legacy,
Yeah.
And I also want to fight. I also want to fight there for the legacy.
How are you
And
getting?
it's just a dream, to be double champ in Madison Square Garden. That's why he's a champion right now, and he's good everywhere. But we will see who is the best fighter in the world.
Yeah,
very soon.
Yeah.
And it's going very.
Before their planned fight, Islam Makhachev just sent Jack Della Maddalena a warning. Jack Della, on the other hand, talked about how big Islam Makhachev was at welterweight and said he would soon be back to lightweight. He hinted that Islam's striking is limited because he always takes the same stance. He was sure that his own striking could take advantage of those weaknesses if they ever fought.
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be all right.
Yeah. You think he'll stick around at 170, or do you think it's just...
I think he'll be one fight, and then he'll probably have to go back down.
Because of how it'll go?
Yeah.
How do you see it playing out?
I think I can take him out. I think Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my...
Philip Rowe also talked about a possible fight between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. He said that he thought JDM would win. He said that Islam wasn't physically ready for middleweight because JDM's strength and ability to heal would be too much for him. Rowe expected a stoppage win for Della Maddalena.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So We'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop at this.
However, Islam Makhachev brought up Jack Della Maddalena and said that the fight would be tough. He applauded JDM's progress, especially in wrestling, adding that he struggled with the sport early in his UFC career but has since trained extensively with grapplers. Islam said that JDM's growth was due to the fact that he was now a top contender. He also said that the world's best fighter would be revealed soon.
It's gonna be a hard fight. Honestly, it's gonna be. I saw his fight against Bilal. He's good, man. He is good. When he beginning fighting in UFC, he had a problem with the wrestling, but now he is improved because I see he training a lot with the wrestlers, with the grapplers, and that's why he's a champion right now, and he's good everywhere. But we will see who is the best fighter in the world.
Yeah,
very soon.
Ilia Topuria initially denied interest in the Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena fight, saying he doesn't care or think about it.
I think Islam Makhachev will do it 170 when he fights Jack Della Maddalena.
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I never thought about that, so I don't.
However, he then advised JDM, suggesting that body shots were the key to stopping Islam's wrestling. He stressed how important it was to aim for the body to stop attempts to take him down, and praised Jack's hitting and overall fighting style.
Advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makhachev next?
The advice, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns. And he's doing a great job at striking. I like how he fought.
Islam Makhachev wanted to fight at Madison Square Garden because he thought it was a famous place where fighters cared more about fame than money. He said it would be an honor, and he wants to win the championships there to seal his position in history.
I asked Dana if there's some opportunity to fight in Madison Square Garden. It will be an honor for me, fight in the biggest arena for MMA and boxing. It's for legendary arena, and I will be happy to have the opportunity to fight in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, you deserve it at least one time, Islam. I know this has been a dream. You've said this before. And they have other champions they can fight in Abu Dhabi. They have Magomed Ankalaev now, so this is your chance.
Yeah. This is my chance, and I want, I know some of the fighters, like boxing fighter, they're not fighting in Madison Square Garden for the money or just for the victory. They just fighting there for the legacy, you know. Yeah. And I also want to fight. I also want to fight there for the legacy.
How are you
and
getting?
It's just a dream, you know, to be double champ in Madison Square Garden.
Islam Makhachev revealed that gaining weight after years of cutting has been tough, despite lifting more and adhering to a tight regimen. He has only gained about 2 kilograms. He emphasized the need to build muscle through rigorous workout rather than simply eating more.
I try to be big, you know, it's not easy, man. All my life I cut weight, but now when I want to be big, my weight stays same position, you know. I try to lift more. We do some program and like slowly, we bring 2 kg right now. But I don't want to be big by food, you know, eating and not training. I want to be with like muscles, you know. I want to training and bring some muscle.
Charles Oliveira thinks Jack Della Maddalena a powerful striker who steadily breaks down opponents. He feels Islam Makhachev will gain from greater strength at welterweight and rely on his grappling. Oliveira thinks the battle will come down to whether Jack can stay on his feet or if Islam can establish his ground game.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te finalizar, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. É o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo,
Stephen Thompson discussed the likely obstacles Islam Makhachev may have at welterweight, saying that while Islam is naturally strong, many welterweights are substantially larger and cut from over 105 pounds. He stated that the size disparity could cause trouble even if Jack Della Maddalena isn't much taller. While Thompson commended Islam's grappling, he informed him that Jack had previously dealt with outstanding wrestlers such as Belal Muhammad. He described it as a tough bout and voiced his hope that the UFC would schedule it soon.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, you know, over 205, 210 to 215. Some of the guys that I faced would walk around at that weight. I mean, I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller. But when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Bilal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Ali Abdelaziz announced that Islam Makhachev will fight for the entire welterweight belt this year. He stated that Jack Della Maddalena is the current champion, but if Jack is unable to participate, the UFC would move on with a new opponent for the vacant crown. Abdelaziz claims that Dana White and Hunter Campbell have accepted this idea and that Islam's relocation is contingent on Jack's availability. If Jack is injured, the title becomes vacant and Islam will still have a chance.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion. But if Jack is not available, there will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunters, everybody said. You know, and that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seems like he's healthy, this title will be vacated and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Luke Thomas praised Jack Maddalena's hitting in his previous fight, but also pointed out shortcomings in his defense and reckless takedown attempts that may be exploited by someone like Islam Makhachev. He warned that Islam's precision and composure could reveal his shortcomings in a high-stakes matchup.
Striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but What could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the 5th, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound #1 guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Thomas also expressed tremendous interest in Makhachev's transition to welterweight, describing it as a significant chance to earn a second belt and advance his reputation. A bout against Ilia Topuria would also be interesting. He said he's more interested in seeing what Islam can do at 170 pounds.
Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilia versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Thomas said that a change to welterweight does not preclude a future fight with Ilia Topuria. Even if Islam loses a close fight at 170, he can still compete at lightweight. He said spectators might expect something unique from Islam at welterweight and lauded his record of meeting difficult challenges, including assist to battles with Alexander Volkanovski.
Just because you're going to get, it looks like, Makhachev and JDM next, doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilia at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his kick, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country. He's earned it. He's earned it. He's absolutely earned it.
Javier Mendez viewed Jack Della Maddalena as the stiffer task, noting his size, diverse striking, and well-rounded skill set. He says JDM is more complex than Ilia Topuria, both in strategy and physicality, making him more difficult to prepare for in all facets of the fight.
JDM is a trickier puzzle to figure out than a potential fight with an Ilia Topuria. It's interesting because both of those guys, both JDM and Ilia Topuria, they both possess great boxing, right? But they're both kind of tricky puzzles in their own right. Who do you feel like is the trickier puzzle to figure out, JDM or Ilia Topuria?
For me, JDM. JDM is the tougher one because of number one, the size. Number two, he's good everywhere. If it was just boxing, then we don't have to worry as much because JDM's boxing is not as good as Topuria, but overall, his kicking, his kneeing, his overall game is very good.
Alexander Volkanovski examined the clash between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev, saying that Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad was great preparation. He thinks Jack's better takedown defense from that bout increased his confidence and made it much more difficult for elite grapplers like Islam to take or hold him down.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, worried about, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. Only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
According to Dustin Poirier, the fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev would most likely be settled in the early rounds. If Islam gets takedowns, he wins. If Jack protects them, his striking and stature may overcome Islam. He said that Islam's hitting looked awkward because opponents aren't focused on fighting his wrestling.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's going to get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going.
Michael Kisa praised Jack Della's performance against Belal Muhammad, namely his footwork, stance switching, and ability to evade cage pressure. He praised Jack for adjusting his style and showing maturity under duress, but also wondering if Craig Jones' conditioning will help him deal with Islam Makhachev's grappling-heavy approach.
We have to give credit to Jack Della because he did such a good job not getting boxed in. He was able to change stances, strike from both stances, and avoid the pressure from Belal, because if Belal can box you in and get past that black line, he's gonna, and when I say black line, it's the octagon within the octagon. There's that black line right by the fence, and if he can get you past that black line, that's when he pours it on the thickest, and he did a good job using his stance changes to not get boxed in, forced Belal into taking long shots, and forced Belal to fight his fight. So I got to give credit to the former champion. He fought a great fight outside of his wheelhouse, which is his grappling, but credit to Jack Della for fighting a great fight.
Does he beat Islam, do you think?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Islam's a big boy, and he's a very smart fighter. I don't know. We'll see if the Craig Jones magic can pay off. Is Craig Jones really the kryptonite to the Dagestani style of fighting? That remains to be seen. But
Henry Cejudo prophesied that Islam Makhachev would beat Jack to become a 2-division champion, calling it the next step in his legacy. Kamaru Usman, on the other hand, praised Jack's poise and thinks he has what it takes to defend his welterweight belt. Both expect the battle to take place in Abu Dhabi in October, ruling out the chance of Islam and Ilia Topuria facing off.
Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilia versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Navajo Sterling made a daring prediction for Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena, expecting JDM to win convincingly. He stated that Jack's stature, reach, and clean mid-range punching will offer major challenges for Islam, requiring him to close the distance or land takedowns. Sterling said that Jack's physicality is one of Islam's traditional advantages, and a dominant loss could jeopardize any future plans to meet Ilia Topuria.
Pick JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
So you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Daniel Cormier called the possible Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev battle as a high-stakes matchup, questioning how Islam's grappling and IQ would do against a naturally larger opponent. He also raised concern about Islam's ability to grow enough size for welterweight.
It's a fantastic fight. It's a big-time fight. And if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight. Because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude. But in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170.
Cormier emphasized the appeal of the clash, stating the champion versus champion element. With Jack coming off a victory over Belal Muhammad and Islam possibly going up, he mentioned that the weight jump increases intensity and curiosity.
A lot of questions, but it's a big time fight, and we'll get into the X's and O's as we get closer. But right now, we're talking the story. We're talking the story. We're talking about a guy that just beat Belal Muhammad to become champion, now getting challenged by a 155-pound champ.
According to Sean O'Malley, Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena will be an important fight, but not as massive as a showdown. With Ilia Topuria, he hailed Islam's victory over Belal Muhammad, saying it adds excitement to a potential fight with Jack. O'Malley stated that if Jack resists takedowns and scores clean shots, it may be competitive, but that Islam's striking is sharper than people. No.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Belal was very impressive. Made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands. But Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA.
Big belt. Who give him that?
Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilia versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
O'Malley also called Islam's transition to welterweight as an exciting development, saying he would be similar in size to Jack despite the weight difference. He thinks Islam's skills can compensate for any physical disadvantage, and that hitting may play a larger role than thought.
I think Islam does at welterweight.
Who knows? I heard he's not going to be any smaller than Jack come fight night. 55 to 70, that's a little bit different than 35 to 45, 45 to 55. But when your skill level's that high as Islam's is, it'll be interesting if he goes in there and tries to shoot on Jack. Jack stops him and gets in his face, but Islam's striking is so underrated. Islam can put the hands on Jack.
That's all for today's show. So, what are your thoughts about this? Share your ideas in the comments box. And if you liked the video, please subscribe and like it. Check out the other videos on the screen right now.